Yo, 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 what is going on? It is the Crazy Writer right here, right now, back with chapter 34 of my Invaders Zim fanfiction. I'm so excited, guys, you have no idea, because we are getting into the last, dozen-ish chapters, and it is all just flying by here. I'm getting really giddy, and I hope some of you are too, because it's been a ride. That's for sure. To those of you that have stuck around for this long from the first chapter, as you're supposed to, I'm very grateful. I know I probably don't have the most charismatic personality, and I know YouTube is not the place you usually go to for fanfictions and stories like this, so I appreciate those of you that are understanding of that and have given all this a chance so far. There's some other stuff I could talk about, like my adjustment to the video making process, but you probably just want to get into the story, so let's do it. Let's sit back, relax, and enjoy it all right here, right now. Chapter 34 All's Fair. After an hour of waiting and realizing Dib wouldn't be coming down from his room, I decided to head home for the night. I entered the house and went down to the lab to see Zim still working as I'd left him. "Honey, I home." I hugged my mate from behind and licked his cheek. "Welcome home, love wolf." Zim didn't look up from his work, but he did start smiling at my presence. "Where'd you go off to?" "I told Dib about us," I said as we swayed and I rested my chin on his shoulder. "He not take very well." Zim chuckled. "I can imagine. Victory for Zim." "Victory is mine," I corrected as I tightened my embrace on the small green Irken. "I want to hold you like this for many moons, Zim. Call you mine and be called yours." "I like it," Zim said softly, and I could have sworn he was purring. "You are so very warm, my Liz. So perfectly warm." Zim set down his tools and placed his hands on mine that were crossed over his chest. Our heads started rubbing together, and I could now definitely say that he was purring. He trembled every time I breathed into his neck. "I not know you could purr," I breathed. Zim took a moment to respond. "Neither did I." "I thought I liked seeing Zim smile, but I love hearing purr," I mused. "My Liz," Zim trembled. "Yes, my Zim," I whispered. It is true. I'd never seen him tremble so much, or at all for that matter. "I am in love with you." "I'm so happy, my love," I told him. "I love you forever." We stood there swaying and holding each other so tightly. "Zim, love," I finally breathed. "Yes, Lizzie, love." "What you tell your alphas?" I asked my mate. "My alphas?" "About us," I clarified. "About us," he repeated and then realized what I was saying. We stopped swaying and he unwrapped my arms from him. While still holding on to my paws, he turned to face me. "What will I tell the tallest? Urkins are not supposed to feel love, let alone love a filthy, earth beast. Liz, I could get into so much trouble for this. What are we going to do?" "Zim," I gripped his hands tighter in mine. "If I can tell Dib about us, you can tell tall alphas. I be right here when you do." "What if they have one of us killed?" Zim said with worry. "Or both of us? I can't let that happen. I will keep us a secret, Liz. Our love may be forbidden, but that will not stop me from being with you." Zim pulled me in and kissed me, and we kissed for about half a minute. "You pick me over home specie?" I asked when we pulled apart. "Perhaps I'll tell them eventually," Zim said. "But right now I just want to enjoy the time we have together." "That make me so happy," I grinned and kissed him again. The next day, Zim and I went home and he took me down to the simulation room that he had used on Dib. He had Gur come down and join us. "Zim, what we doing down here?" I asked him. "We need to work on your inferior fighting skills, Liz," he explained. "Excuse me?" I raised an eyebrow. "Your fighting tactics are extremely primitive, and Erkin Smeet could defeat you in battle," Zim said with no sugarcoating. I liked his brutal honesty because I knew he was never holding back. "Need I remind you I destroy Tak with ease?" I said, slightly annoyed. "You got lucky that time," Zim brushed off my accomplishment. "If you're going to be the mate of the mighty Zim, you must learn how to fight creatures much more advanced than yourself and the earth beasts." I blew some of my hair out of my face. "Fine. Train me, mighty Erkin Lord." "That's what I like to hear," Zim said and gestured to Gur. "Gur, you will be helping Liz to train in fighting." "Woo!" Gur said excitedly. "I get to play with Wolfie!" "No, Gur," Zim corrected. "Not play. The two of you will be fighting with each other. For Liz's own good, I'm going to tell you, Gur, to not hold back. Do you understand? Fight with her as if she were a real enemy." "Yes, my lord," Gur saluted. "And Liz," Zim turned back to me, "the same goes for you. Fight with Gur as if he was an enemy robot like Tax." "Yes, love." I bowed my head. Zim kissed the top of my head and then went up to the booth. He turned the simulator on and Gur and I were now in the middle of a battle, where Erkins and their robots were fighting against the robots that were malfunctioning. "All right, you two," Zim's voice echoed through the simulation. "You are on Erk, and some of the malfunctioning Sir units have decided to try and take over the planet. Gur, you are one of the malfunctioning Sirs and you are fighting with Liz. Now fight!" Gur saluted and started rolling around on the floor. "No, Gur, no!" Zim shouted. "You must fight with Liz! Stop goofing around!" Gur only continued to roll around on the floor while laughing. I started giggling at how cute he was. "Arrgh!" I heard Zim scream in frustration and then the simulation disappeared. "Gur, get up here!" Gur went up to the booth and I sat alone in the simulation room for a few minutes. "All right, Liz, change of plans." Zim finally started talking again. "You'll be fighting against the simulation itself." The simulation changed so that I was facing Tak and Mimi. I arched my back and started growling at the enemies. "You will start off by fighting with Tak's robot," Zim explained. "Once you've destroyed Mimi, you can have your way with Tak herself. Remember, Tak and Mimi will fight the same way they would in real life, so don't hold back. And don't worry about getting too injured because we have medical equipment that will fix you up if things go wrong for you. Good luck, Liz. Love you." The love you took me off guard and I wasn't ready for Mimi's attack. She jumped at me like she had attacked me in the house the other day and slammed me into the ground. The back of my head hit the floor like a rock dropped off a cliff. I remembered the fighting that me and the other wolves did as pups and tried to use that strategy. I locked my jaws onto Mimi's arm and refused to let go. With all my body strength, I overpowered the small robot and slammed her into the ground. Mimi overpowered me by smashing me in the side of the head with her free arm. For 3 hours, I practiced battling the holographic robot while Zim yelled pointers down at me. "Don't let yourself get distracted by me, no matter how amazing I may be," he said after I was easily defeated in the first round. "Remember, Liz, it isn't necessarily about size or strength, but about strategy. As you fight, find your opponent's weak point and use it against them. At the same time, figure out what your weak point is and eliminate it while you fight." I fought hard and I fought for a long time. Each time I grew closer to defeating Mimi but was eventually vanquished by her. I fought until I was too weak to fight and then I fought some more. I fought until none of my legs could support me and I knew I was done. The simulation and Mimi disappeared from around me and soon Zim was standing over me. I was too weak and tired to even speak to him. He reached down and picked me up in his surprisingly strong arms. I nuzzled my head into his chest and he gave me a tender kiss on the forehead. "You did good today, my special earth beast," he whispered as he carried me towards the door. "You did good." Zim took me to our room and placed me in the bed where I held onto the wolf plushie and rested. Zim didn't leave my side, but instead sat up on the side of the bed and stroked my hair. I finally gathered enough strength to look up at my mate and fighting coach. "Robot fight different from wolf and people," I said in a cracked voice. "I know they do, Liz," Zim continued stroking. "You should try fighting on 2 feet. You can use your hands as 2 more things to fight with." "Vital organs more protect on 4, I told him. "Would been harder about Tech hard if she on 4 leg." "You dare disagree with me?" Zim's had his usual burst before cooling down. "Suit yourself, love. I suppose you have to find your fighting style that works for you." And so for the many evenings that followed, Zim spent his time either training me in the simulator or working on my pack, while I went to visit the membranes or Gretchen. It took several days, but Dib eventually stopped acting so ornery and could almost talk to me normally again. On days that followed my training, I went to school sore and exhausted. I'd crash on Dib or Gretchen's couch those evenings and all but napped. Also, for the rest of the school year, Zim and I went to our makeout session privately in the janitor's closet during lunchtime. No more poor excuses for lunch when we could be enjoying our favorite activity together. I have little time to go hunting anymore, which really sucks. My only real opportunity for hunting is during the walk home when I can finally hunt some squirrels, rats, or suburban rabbits. My hunting skills deteriorated at first, but with more training my hunting improved, along with my fighting. It took me a full cycle of the moon before I was finally able to defeat Mimi. After Mimi, I practiced fighting Tak, a well-trained Urkin. Tak was much easier because she could actually feel pain and was possible to distract. I defeated her on my 2nd day. After that, I switched to having to fight Mimi and then immediately fight Tak, which was a living hell. However, I did want to one day fight alongside Zim if necessary, and always fought until I no longer could. Over time, I grew stronger, more resilient, and better at strategical fighting. And there you have it, folks. One more chapter done and over with. I'm really excited for the next couple of chapters. Y'all ain't ready. Y'all ain't ready. But until then, I will see you little darlings next time, and remember, keep your crazy.